Today you're going to stretch yourself out of your comfort zone and become more self-assured, because we all know that keeping ourselves safe and playing safe in life don't get ourselves anywhere. We just get stuck and we are not able to live an extraordinary life. So today's talk will be about why you keep yourself in the safe zone, and we will also go through how you can stretch yourself outside of your comfort. As humans, we want to keep safe and we also want to avoid pain. And due to that, our comfort zone is closely connected to the sense of survival. So due to that, if we feel scared, if we feel that we do something that feels discomforting, if we do something that feels unfamiliar to us, we tend to feel that that is a threat and we start to get very scared of it. So what happens is that our subconscious and our mind is starting to find out all these different reasons why we should stay where we are at in our comfort zone. But our comfort zone doesn't always make us, the best or easiest way for us to grow and expand. And sometimes we can also, which I will talk about a little bit later, but we can also need to have this kind of temporary pains that may look like or feel like a pain, but when we have stretched outside of that comfort zone, we will not feel that pain any longer. So why do we stay in our safe zone? There are many different reasons for that. And one of the reasons is, for instance, the kind of feeling of waiting, okay? So when you notice that you have a feeling of waiting, chances are that you are in your safe zone, in your comfort zone at this moment. This typical, okay, you get so inspired and so exaggerated about making a change in a habit or starting something new, and you're just like, your mind just like, yeah, this sounds so great. I will start with it on Monday. Or I will start with it next week. Or why not start with it next month? That's a perfect idea. New Year's resolutions, I think there was someone who was so much in their comfort zone who told themselves, like in October, well, I am feeling so excited for changing my life, and then I will do that in January. So whenever you feel that you start to wait for something, chances are that you're actually trying to keep yourself safe, and it's actually not helping you that much. So this kind of waiting can feel very comfortable, so to say. It feels cozy. It feels like I can stay here for a while, right? It feels a little bit soft, and we sometimes can trick ourselves that, we are doing this kind of smooth transition. But in the matter of fact, then when we do something new or when we're starting a new habit, it doesn't really feel that smooth anyways. Another thing is when you start to feel passive or you start to feel very stagnated. This is the number one feeling that we usually feel when we are in our comfort zone and we are ready to expand beyond that current comfort zone. This tip called, you're doing a task, for instance, and suddenly you feel that, okay, I'm starting to, lose the flow. I'm not having so much creativity any longer. Usually what happens actually for many of us is that we continue anyways. We're just gonna finish up that task, or maybe the flow comes back or the creativity comes back. We actually have to fix this now, right? But instead we become more and more stagnated. So we have to see exactly in those moments when we start to feel that we are becoming very stuck in our energy to make a move directly. So we don't keep ourselves there, because then is when that passiveness starts to kick in. This is something that we always have to remember, like something becomes a habit when we are not actively breaking that pattern. So that's why we need to look up for it. This feeling of passiveness is also a feeling of, boredom sometimes, and also a feeling of a little bit discomfort. We can sometimes start to feel, almost as if I don't really know what to do about it, and can I even do something about it? The third thing that I want to say to you that may not be for all of you, but I want to share it because it's also from my personal experiences. What I've noticed when I'm in my comfort zone is when I begin to shrink myself. Okay, just a very short example. The other day, I gave tarot card readings on a festival here in Stockholm, or on an evening event, so to say. And in the end of the event, and those events usually have in the end of the event some certain type of sound journey or sound healing or something. So I joined that one, and I was really hungry. I haven't been eating for the whole evening. I'm just doing tarot readings for like 4 hours straight. Okay, so my stomach started to make sounds, right? And I was, like, oh no, 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 no is happening. Oh, I don't want to disturb anyone. I noticed that I'd like put my hands on my stomach and really shrunk myself. Think about it yourself. I don't know if you know what sound journey is, but usually it is someone is like doing some certain type of guided meditation, or they're playing on some instruments that, everybody's laying down in a dark room and, tuning in and so forth. So it's gotta be silent, right? But you have to be able to breathe. And many times I feel that, I should not move now, because what if I disturb someone else? And that is a pattern that I have, that sometimes I actually shrink myself, especially if I'm in environments when I maybe don't know the people, or if I just feel, a little bit uncomfortable in one way or another. So that was me noticing, like, wow, I'm in my comfort zone, because whenever I'm in my comfort zone, I don't take up the place. I shrink myself. So, okay, that was a little bit like knowing and why we keep ourselves in our safe zone. Now I have 8 steps or 8 ideas how that you can stretch outside of your comfort zone, so that you can also become more self-assured. And I always provide with timestamps in my videos, so if you want to skip to certain parts, please go ahead and do that. I really do believe that all of these steps can be great to listen to if you really want to, stretch outside of your comfort zone at this point. Okay, so how do we get outside of our comfort zone? First and foremost, we have to look into our self-compassion. This is very closely connected to our self-esteem. If you have a habit of talking yourself down, don't believe in yourself, having disbelief, judging, criticizing yourself, that will not create a safe environment for you. And think about it, as I just said, already by you wanting to expand, by you wanting to stretch into something new, your internal system will turn on this survival mode and become fearful. So think about it yourself. You double the fear when you also have that disbelief in yourself. I don't know why, but there are not so many people that actually often talk about it when we talk about our comfort zone, but we have to pay attention to that. Do I have a habit in disbelief? Do I down talk myself often? Do I create this safe environment and safe space for me to expand and extract into a new area of my life, or into a new habit, or into a new way of living, a new way of thinking? And if you notice that you tend to have this harsh internal activity, so to say, and you honestly want to become more self-appreciative, I will leave the links in the comment for my Fulfilled You course. That is a great course for you to also begin to appreciate yourself a little bit more. Number 2, how you can stretch yourself out of your comfort zone is to shake the energies. Okay, so shake the ordinary. Everything that you do on a day-to-day basis has become something that is a part of your habits, so it's a part of your comfort zone. Chances are that you do certain things that you do almost out of safety. What is that I do that has become way too much comforting? And how we can find those parts is usually by you feel that they become boring or a little bit stale, or it's just like you're doing it a lot on autopilot, for instance. This can be how you start your day. This can be how you end your day. Can be the way you walk to your work or your studies or whatever. This can be the people that you talk to. So every time that I feel that I want to stretch myself out of my comfort zone, I do these things as I reach out to people that I haven't reached out for, and have thought that, okay, I want to actually reach out to this person, but I haven't, for instance. That is something that I take my time in it, so to say. I call the company instead of emailing, because that feels more safe for me to do so. I find different ways how I maybe be very comfortable in my workout practice, or in the foods that I'm eating, or, I really look into, like, where can I shake the energies up a little bit? Where can I do something different? Can I do something different on Thursday evenings now for a couple of weeks? Or can I skip something that before used to make me very safe? Can I kind of, skip that part now and go on to the next thing, right? So the third thing is the extra formula. And the extra formula, I love that one. The extra formula is to give extra into if you start to feel a little bit safe, okay? So, or afraid, I mean. So let's say that you start with a habit or you do something that feels outside of your comfort zone. You're just like, okay, I feel really stressed out right now, but I actually need to take a break. It feels uncomfortable for me to do that, but I will do it. Then you will give yourself something extra of that. So you will just like, okay, just because I feel that this is outside of my comfort, I will make it even more so out of my comfort. So I will leave the phone at home. I will not even bring the phone with me, right? Or I will not decide when I'm about to arrive back home again. So really, when you feel that you are doing something and you're stretching it a little, feel into and tune into, can I stretch it even more? Can I stretch it extra and give it extra to that type of new experience that I am calling in for myself? I always have, and I've had for a couple of years at least now, a certain type of identity which I am, which kind of my future identity. And this helps me in so many areas of my life, and in getting out of my comfort zone, this isn't an exception. Because when you have something to look forward to, when you have something to stretch and expand towards, it's easier for you to not stay safe and stay in that comfort. It's easy for you to, on a day-to-day basis, actually stretch yourself to that future version of yourself. So thinking in terms of, okay, this version of me, what type of identity does this version of me carry? And what strengths, what abilities does this person carries out? But most importantly, in this situation, right, what is not in this version's comfort zone? So what might be in my comfort zone probably is different from that future version of yourself. So what is it that your future version has left behind and don't have in their comfort zone any longer, so to say? Okay, so the fifth step to stretch yourself outside of your comfort zone, so that you can also feel and become more self-assured, because that is actually what's happening. We gain a lot of confidence, right? We get a lot of assurance. We give trust into ourselves when we step into our comfort zone, or step out of our comfort zone, so to say. The fifth thing that you can do is to actually question the opposite. Question the opposite is you having a certain type of stories and beliefs from before, right? So you knowing that you don't go out after dark. I mean, of course, keep yourself safe, but just for the sake of this example, right? You knowing going outside when it's dark and you thinking that I am more exposed, or I am more, I have to be on guard more when I'm going outside when it's dark, right? And start to, play around in your mind a little bit and, give yourself the opposite. Like, okay, why would that be? Can't it be even more so safe for me actually to go out in the dark because no one else is out when it's cold, right? As I said, of course, you have to look into your own situation and your own safety, and where it also does really feel like not too much a stress for you. We will talk about the middle way very soon, but I just want to, acknowledge this, that when we feel ready to, this is something that is very brave for us to do, that we actually question the opposite. If I'm used to and feeling that it's a little bit outside of my comfort zone, sitting and watching other people talking with each other, and I'm sitting in the corner, why don't I question myself and ask myself, why is it more comfortable for me and feels more safe for me to sit here and stay here in the corner watching everybody else have a conversation? Why does that feel more safe for me than actually sitting or taking contact with some of the people and joining their conversation instead? So the next stretch to do is to get yourself into temporary pain, as we said. So temporary pain is the pain that we experience when we actually break in the pattern of a habit and get ourselves out in, something new. So this can mean that if we change and tweak something in our workout practice, if we are, going from never have talked to any any kind of crowd or anything, that we start to talk to 5 people in a workshop, or we go from 5 people to 50 people, or we record our first video. When we're taking that first step, many times it feels very painful. But if we are excited, passionate, and if there's actually something that we really feel that we want to do, or we have this intriguing interest, chances are that you are numbing yourself a little bit to that interest, to that excitement, just because you try to your subconscious try to keep you safe. And so sometimes we have to go through different experience that does feel as kind of pain for the first time. It feels maybe a little bit embarrassing. We maybe said something that we didn't really want to say. We maybe stumbled on our words. We maybe felt that, okay, this wasn't that great of a performance for me actually. And that experiencing that pain will help us grow, will help us feel so much more trust in ourselves, will help us get so much more confidence in ourselves, and we will become stronger and stronger, and we will build that muscle to actually get out of our comfort zone much more often, because we start to get a little bit more familiar with that. Sometimes it has to feel a little bit of discomfort before it feels a little bit in comfort again, right? So we're always moving and expanding, as well as journaling and personal growth, internal growth is compounding over time. That's the same for comfort zone as I see it. So the middle way then, if talk a little bit about the middle way, for some or for something that you really want to make a change, make a move in, or so forth, it might feel very, very frightening. It might feel like you almost freeze, you get this freeze, or you get this flight response. And this, once again, because we have this sense of, we connect to the sense of survival when it comes to our comfort zone. If that happens to you, and if something feels very frightening, I dare to let yourself allow to have the middle way. And the middle way is to do something that feels a little bit of a stretch, but not too much. You want to reach a much bigger goal that you ever done from before, and it requires for you to actually become another type of person, or it requires for you to do things that you haven't done before that you're very scared of. Let's just say, for instance, you want to do public speaking. Going from where you are now and tomorrow having that speech might feel very, very scary for you. Listen to that, honor that, but make sure that you take the steps towards the public speaking. So start to talk for yourself. Maybe record yourself on a screen, and start to talk to yourself to a camera, for instance. Or begin to, think a little bit in your mind, like, what will you talk about? What does feel exciting about this experience? What is it that you actually want to experience about this, and so forth, right? So you prepare yourself for that experience, okay? But not waiting, as we talked about in the beginning. You have to pay attention to that. You're not waiting, but you're actually, taking the steps towards it, but you're just taking a little bit smaller steps than the grand ones that maybe feel very, very scary to you. Before I go into the last stretch, I just want to point out a little bit what I talked about, the feeling of that have these temporary pains. And the addition I want to give to that is actually that we have to, learn how to be and stay committed to things, because that commitment will give us and help us grow outside of that comfort zone. So when something feels uncomfortable in the beginning, us committing to actually doing, the hard workout routine that we didn't want to do, or us doing, reaching that kind of goal. If we said to ourselves that we want to plan out our week on Fridays and we haven't done it yet when it's Sunday, and we feel that I don't at all feel for working right now because we see that as work, for instance, but we promise ourselves that we want to be set up for the Mondays, and we know that that will actually help us to grow. We know that it will actually set us up in energy of success already on Monday morning. Maybe it does feel as a stretch. Maybe it does feel painful to do that planning on the Sunday, but maybe you will thank yourself because you stayed committed and did it before the Monday. So the 8th and last stretch is actually to sneak on other people's comfort zones. And what I mean with that is that some people don't have the same comfort zone as you have. As we talked about, your future self, it's almost a little bit similar concept here. But I've noticed some people are so, according to me, brave in something, or they are so just like go 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 and get it, or they have such a great self-concept in something, and I'm just like, wow, how can they just pick up the phone and just call people like that, or how can they, and what I've noticed throughout my years that really have helped me is to look up to those people and see what they do and how they do it. Actually ask questions if you can ask them questions, or if you don't know any person that you want to expand and extract into that type of new way of living, find a person that talks about it in podcasts or on YouTube videos, or have a course for you about that, right? So we can always find other people that can help us to grow into where we want to go next. So really look into, do you have some person in your life that you actually feel like, wow, they do a really cool thing in this, right? It feels scary for me, but I actually want to learn how I can be very confident in that, so to say, and see what they do, learn from them. Listen to them. How do they speak about things? What do they start with first? Or do they wait for something right? Or do they just start with it directly? So that was the 8 stretches for you, so that you can become more self-assured and you can stretch out, get outside of your comfort zone and expand into something new. Expand into new perspectives, expand into new goals, and have an even better life for yourself when you're attracting more of what you want in your life. Let me know, give me a comment which of these 8 stretches that you want to start with, or what felt most resonant for you at this moment. And I see you next time. Keep on listening to Within Talks. Bye.